Proverbs chapter 1. The Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, who reigned in Israel, to know wisdom and instruction, and to perceive words of understanding, to receive also hard saying, and to understand true justice, and how to direct judgment, that he might give subtlety to the simple, and to the young man discernment and understanding. For by the hearing of these a wise man will be made wiser, and a man of understanding will gain direction, and will understand a parable and a dark speech, and saying of the wise also, and riddles. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and there is good understanding to all that practice it. And piety toward God is the beginning of discernment, but the ungodly will set at naught wisdom and instruction. Hear, my son, the instruction of thy father, and reject not the rules of thy mother. For thou shalt receive for thine head a crown of graces, and a chain of gold round thy neck. My son, let not ungodly men lead thee astray, neither consent thou to them. If they should exhort thee, saying, Come with us, partake in blood, and let us unjustly hide the just man in the earth, and let us swallow him alive as Hades would, and remove the memorial of him from the earth. Let us seize on his valuable property, and let us fill our houses with spoils. But do thou cast in thy lot with us, and let us all provide a common purse, and let us have one pouch. Go not in the way with them, but turn aside thy foot from their paths. For their feet run to do evil, and are swift to shed blood. For nets are not without cause spread for birds. For they that are concerned in murder store up evils for themselves, and the overthrow of transgressors is evil. These are the ways of all that perform lawless deeds. For by ungodliness they destroy their own life. Wisdom sings aloud in passages, and in the broad places speaks boldly. And she makes proclamation on the top of the walls, and sits by the gates of princes, and at the gates of the city boldly says, So long as the simple cleave to justice, they shall not be ashamed. But the foolish, being lovers of haughtiness, having become ungodly, have hated knowledge, and are become subject to reproofs. Behold, I will bring forth to you the utterance of my breath, and I will instruct you in my speech. Since I called, and ye did not hearken, and I spoke at length, and ye gave no heed. But ye set at naught my counsels, and disregarded my reproofs. Therefore I also will laugh at your destruction, and I will rejoice against you when ruin comes upon you. Yea, when dismay suddenly comes upon you, and your overthrow shall arrive like a tempest, and when tribulation and distress shall come upon you, and when ruin shall come upon you. For it shall be that when ye call upon me, I will not hearken to you. Wicked men shall seek me, but shall not find me. For they hated wisdom, and did not choose the word of the Lord. Neither would they attend to my counsels, but derided my reproofs. Therefore shall they eat the fruits of their own way, and shall be filled with their own ungodliness. For because they wronged the simple, they shall be slain, and an inquisition shall ruin the ungodly. But he that hearkens to me shall dwell in confidence, and shall rest securely from all evil. Proverbs chapter 2. My son, if thou wilt receive the utterance of my commandment, and hide it with thee, thine ear shall hearken to wisdom. Thou shalt also apply thine heart to understanding, and shalt apply it to the instruction of thy son. For it thou shalt call to wisdom, and utter thy voice for understanding. And if thou shalt seek it as silver, and search diligently for it as for treasures, then shalt thou understand the fear of the Lord, and find the knowledge of God. For the Lord gives wisdom, and from his presence come knowledge and understanding. And he treasures up salvation for them that walk uprightly. He will protect their way, that he may guard the righteous ways, and he will preserve the way of them that fear him. Then shalt thou understand righteousness and judgment, and shalt direct all thy course aright. For if wisdom shall come into thine understanding, and discernment shall seem pleasing to thy soul, good counsel shall guard thee, and holy understanding shall keep thee, to deliver thee from the evil way, and from the man that speaks nothing faithfully. Alas for those who forsake right paths, to walk in ways of darkness, who rejoice in evils, and delight in wicked perverseness, whose paths are crooked, and their courses winding, to remove thee far from the straight way, and to estrange thee from a righteous purpose. My son, let not evil counsel overtake thee, of her who has forsaken the instruction of her youth, and forgotten the covenant of God. For she has fixed her house near death, and guided her wheels near Hades with the giants. None that go by her shall return, neither shall they take hold of right paths. For they are not apprehended of the years of life. For had they gone in good paths, they would have found the paths of righteousness easy. For the upright shall dwell in the earth, and the holy shall be left behind in it. The paths of the ungodly shall perish out of the earth, and the transgressors shall be driven away from it. Proverbs chapter 3. My son, forget not my laws, but let thine heart keep my words. For length of existence, and years of life, and peace shall they add to thee. Let not mercy and truth forsake thee, but bind them about thy neck. So shalt thou find favor. And do thou provide things honest in the sight of the Lord and of men. Trust in God with all thine heart, and be not exalted in thine own understanding. In all thy ways acquaint thyself with her, that she may rightly direct thy paths. Be not wise in thine own conceit, but fear God, and depart from all evil. Then shall there be health to thy body, and good keeping to thy bones. Honor the Lord with thy just labors, and give him the first of thy fruits of righteousness, that thy storehouses may be completely filled with corn, and that thy presses may burst forth with wine. My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. For whom the Lord loves, he rebukes, and scourges every son whom he receives. Blessed is the man who has found wisdom, and the mortal who knows prudence. For it is better to traffic for her than for treasures of gold and silver, and she is more valuable than precious stones. No evil thing shall resist her. She is well known to all that approach her, and no precious thing is equal to her in value. For length of existence and years of life are in her right hand, and in her left hand are wealth and glory. Out of her mouth proceed righteousness, and she carries law and mercy upon her tongue. Her ways are good ways, and all her paths are peaceful. She is a tree of life to all that lay hold upon her, and she is a secure help to all that stay themselves on her, as on the Lord. God by wisdom founded the earth, and by prudence he prepared the heavens. By understanding were the depths broken up, and the clouds dropped water. My son, let them not pass from thee, but keep thy counsel and understanding, that thy soul may live, and that there may be grace around thy neck. And it shall be health to thy flesh, and safety to thy bones, that thou mayest go confidently in peace in all thy ways, and that thy foot may not stumble. For if thou rest, thou shalt be undismayed, and if thou sleep, thou shalt slumber sweetly. And thou shalt not be afraid of alarm coming upon thee, neither of approaching attacks of ungodly men. For the Lord shall be over all thy ways, and shall establish thy foot, that thou be not moved. Forbear not to do good to the poor, whensoever thy hand may have power to help him. Say not, come back another time, tomorrow I will give, while thou art able to do him good. For thou knowest not what the next day will bring forth. Devise not evil against thy friend, living near thee and trusting in thee. Be not ready to quarrel with a man without a cause, lest he do thee some harm. Procure not the reproaches of bad men, neither do thou covet their ways. For every transgressor is unclean before the Lord, neither does he sit among the righteous. The curse of God is in the houses of the ungodly, but the habitations of the just are blessed. The Lord resists the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. The wise shall inherit glory, but the ungodly have exalted their own dishonor. Proverbs chapter 4. Hear, ye children, the instruction of a father, and attend to know understanding. For I will give you a good gift, forsake ye not my law. For I also was a son, obedient to my father, and loved in the sight of my mother, who spoke and instructed me, saying, Let our speech be fixed in thine heart, keep our commandments, forget them not, and do not neglect the speech of my mouth, and forsake it not, and it shall cleave to thee. Love it, and it shall keep thee. Secure it, and it shall exalt thee. Honor it, that it may embrace thee, that it may give unto thy head a crown of graces, and may cover thee with a crown of delight. Hear, my son, and receive my words, and the years of thy life shall be increased, that the resources of thy life may be many. For I teach thee the ways of wisdom, and I cause thee to go in right paths. For when thou goest, thy steps shall not be straitened, and when thou runnest, thou shalt not be distressed. Take hold of my instruction, let it not go, but keep it for thyself, for thy life. Go not in the ways of the ungodly, neither covet the ways of transgressors. In whatever place they shall pitch their camp, go not thither, but turn from them, and pass away. For they cannot sleep unless they have done evil. Their sleep is taken away, and they rest not. For these live upon the bread of ungodliness, and are drunken with the wine of transgression. But the ways of the righteous shine like light. They go on and shine until the day be fully come. But the way of the ungodly is dark. They know not how they stumble. My son, attend to my speech, and apply thine ear to my words, that thy fountains may not fail thee. Keep them in thine heart, for they are life to those that find them, and health to all their flesh. Keep thine heart with the utmost care, for out of these are the issues of life. Remove from thee a froward mouth, and put far from thee unjust lips. Let thine eyes look right on, and let thine eyelids assent to just things. Make straight paths for thy feet, and order thy ways aright. Turn not aside to the right hand, nor to the left, but turn away thy foot from an evil way. For God knows the ways on the right hand, but those on the left are crooked. And he will make thy ways straight, and will guide thy steps in peace. Proverbs chapter 5. My son, attend to my wisdom, and apply thine ear to my words, that thou mayest keep good understanding, and the discretion of my lips gives thee a charge. Give no heed to a worthless woman, for honey drops from the lips of a harlot, who for a season pleases thy palate, but afterwards thou wilt find her more bitter than gall, and sharper than a two-edged sword. For the feet of folly lead those who deal with her down to the grave with death, and her steps are not established. For she goes not upon the paths of life, but her ways are slippery, and not easily known. Now then, my son, hear me, and make not my words of none effect. Remove thy way far from her, draw not near to the doors of her house, lest thou give away thy life to others, and thy substance to the merciless, lest strangers be filled with thy strength, and thy labors come into the houses of strangers. And thou repent at last, when the flesh of thy body is consumed, and thou shalt say, How have I hated instruction, and my heart avoided reproofs? I heard not the voice of him that instructed me, and taught me, neither did I apply mine ear. I was almost in all evil in the midst of the congregation and assembly. Drink waters out of thine own vessels, and out of thine own springing wells. Let not waters out of thy fountain be spilt by thee, but let thy waters go into thy streets. Let them be only thine own, and let no stranger partake with thee. Let thy fountain of water be truly thine own, and rejoice with the wife of thy youth. Let thy loving heart and thy graceful colt company with thee, and let her be considered thine own, and be with thee at all times, for ravished with her love thou shalt be greatly increased. Be not intimate with a strange woman, neither fold thyself in the arms of a woman not thine own. For the ways of a man are before the eyes of God, and he looks on all his paths. Iniquities ensnare a man, and every one is bound in the chains of his own sins. Such a man dies with the uninstructed, and he is cast forth from the abundance of his own substance, and has perished through folly. Proverbs chapter 6. My son, if thou become surety for thy friend, thou shalt deliver thine hand to an enemy. For a man's own lips become a strong snare to him, and he is caught with the lips of his own mouth. My son, do what I command thee, and deliver thyself, for on thy friend's account thou art come into the power of evil men. Faint not, but stir up even thy friend, for whom thou art become surety. Give not sleep to thine eyes, nor slumber with thine eyelids, that thou mayest deliver thyself as a doe out of the toils, and as a bird out of a snare. Go to the ant, O sluggard, and see, and emulate his ways, and become wiser than he. For whereas he has no husbandry, nor any one to compel him, and is under no master, he prepares food for himself in the summer, and lays by abundant store in harvest. Or go to the bee, and learn how diligent she is, and how earnestly she is engaged in her work, whose labors kings and private men use for health. And she is desired and respected by all. Though weak in body, she is advanced by honoring wisdom. How long wilt thou lie, O sluggard? And when wilt thou awake out of sleep? Thou sleepest a little, and thou restest a little, and thou slumberest a short time, and thou foldest thine arms over thy breast a little. Then poverty comes upon thee as an evil traveler, and want as a swift courier. But if thou be diligent, thine harvest shall arrive as a fountain, and poverty shall flee away as a bad courier. A foolish man and a transgressor goes in ways that are not good, and the same winks with the eye, and makes a sign with his foot, and teaches with the beckonings of his fingers. His perverse heart devises evils. At all times such a one causes troubles to a city. Therefore his destruction shall come suddenly. Overthrow the irretrievable ruin. For he rejoices in all things which God hates, and he is ruined by a reason of impurity of soul. The eye of the haughty, a tongue unjust, hands shutting the blood of the just, and a heart devising evil thoughts, and feet hastening to do evil, are hateful to God. An unjust witness kindles falsehoods, and brings on quarrels between brethren. My son, keep the laws of thy father, and reject not the ordinances of my mother, but bind them upon thy soul continually, and hang them as a chain about thy neck. Whensoever thou walkest, lead this along, and let it be with thee, that it may talk with thee when thou wakest. For the commandment of the law is a lamp and a light, a way of life, reproof also and correction, to keep thee continually from a married woman, and from the calumny of a strange tongue. Let not the desire of beauty overcome thee, neither be thou caught by thine eyes, neither be captivated with her eyelids. For the value of a harlot is as much as of one loaf, and a woman hunts for the precious souls of men. Shall any one bind fire in his bosom, and not burn his garments? Or will anyone walk on coals of fire, and not burn his feet? So is he that goes in to a married woman. He shall not be held guiltless, neither anyone that touches her. It is not to be wondered at, if one should be taken stealing, for he steals that, when hungry, he may satisfy his soul. But if he should be taken, he shall repay sevenfold, and shall deliver himself by giving all his goods. But the adulterer, through want of sense, procures destruction to his soul. He endures both pain and disgrace, and his reproach shall never be wiped off. For the soul of her husband is full of jealousy. He will not spare in the day of vengeance. He will not forego his enmity for any ransom, neither will he be reconciled for many gifts. Proverbs chapter 7. My son, keep my words, and hide with thee my commandments. My son, honor the Lord, and thou shalt be strong, and fear none but him. Keep my commandments, and thou shalt live, and keep my words as the pupils of thine eyes, and bind them on thy fingers, and write them on the table of thine heart. Say that wisdom is thy sister, and gain prudence as an acquaintance for thyself, that she may keep thee from the strange and wicked woman, if she should assail thee with flattering words, for she looks from a window out of her house into the streets, at one whom she may see of the senseless ones, a young man void of understanding, passing by the corner in the passages near her house, and speaking in the dark of the evening, when there happens to be the stillness of night and of darkness. And the woman meets him, having the appearance of a harlot, that causes the hearts of young men to flutter. And she is fickle and debauched, and her feet abide not at home. For at one time she wanders without, and at another time she lies in wait in the streets, at every corner. Then she caught him, and kissed him, and with an impudent face said to him, I have a peace offering. Today I have paid my vows. Therefore I came forth to meet thee, desiring thy face, and I have found thee. I have spread my bed with sheets, and I have covered it with double tapestry from Egypt. I have sprinkled my couch with saffron, and my house with cinnamon. Come and let us enjoy love until the morning. Come and let us embrace in love, for my husband is not at home, but is gone on a long journey, having taken in his hand a bundle of money. After many days he will return to his house. So with much converse she prevailed on him to go astray, and with the snares of her lips forced him from the right path. And he followed her, being gently led on, and that as an ox is led to the slaughter, and as a dog to the bonds, or as a hart shot in the liver with an arrow. And he hastens as a bird into a snare, not knowing that he is running for his life. Now then, my son, hearken to me, and attend to the words of my mouth. Let not thine heart turn aside to her ways. For she has wounded and cast down many, and those whom she has slain are innumerable. Her house is the way of hell, leading down to the chambers of death. Proverbs chapter 8. Thou shalt proclaim wisdom, that understanding may be obedient to thee. For she is on lofty eminences, and stands in the midst of the ways. For she sits by the gates of princes, and sings in the entrances, saying, You, O men, I exhort, and utter my voice to the sons of men. O ye simple, understand subtlety, and ye that are untaught, imbibe knowledge. Hearken to me, for I will speak solemn truths, and will produce right sayings from my lips. For my throat shall meditate truth, and false lips are an abomination before me. All the words of my mouth are in righteousness. There is nothing in them wrong or perverse. They are all evident to those that understand, and right to those that find knowledge. Receive instruction, and not silver, and knowledge rather than tried gold. For wisdom is better than precious stones, and no valuable substance is of equal worth with it. I, wisdom, have dwelt with counsel and knowledge, and I have called upon understanding. The fear of the Lord hates unrighteousness, and insolence and pride, and the ways of wicked men. And I hate the perverse ways of bad men. Counsel and safety are mine, prudence is mine, and strength is mine. By me kings reign, and princes decree justice. By me nobles become great, and monarchs by me rule over the earth. I love those that love me, and they that seek me shall find me. Wealth and glory belong to me, yea, abundant possessions and righteousness. It is better to have my fruit than to have gold and precious stones, and my produce is better than choice silver. I walk in the ways of righteousness, and am conversant with the paths of judgment, that I may divide substance to them that love me, and may fill their treasures with good things. If I declare to you the things that daily happen, I will remember also to recount the things of old. The Lord made me the beginning of his ways for his works. He established me before time was in the beginning, before he made the earth, even before he made the depths, before the fountains of water came forth, before the mountains were settled, and before all hills he begets me. The Lord made countries and uninhabited tracts, and the highest inhabited parts of the world. When he prepared the heaven, I was present with him, and when he prepared his throne upon the winds, and when he strengthened the clouds above, and when he secured the fountains of the earth, decree, and when he strengthened the fountains of the earth, I was by him, suiting myself to him. I was that wherein he took delight, and daily I rejoiced in his presence continually. For he rejoiced when he had completed the world, and rejoiced among the children of men. Now then, my son, hear me. Blessed is the man who shall hearken to me, and the mortal who shall keep my ways. Hear wisdom, and be wise, and be not strangers to it, watching daily at my doors, waiting at the posts of my entrances. For my outgoings are the outgoings of life, and in them is prepared favor from the Lord. But they that sin against me act wickedly against their own souls, and they that hate me love death. Proverbs chapter 9. Wisdom has built a house for herself, and set up 7 pillars. She has killed her beasts, she has mingled her wine in a bowl, and prepared her table. She has sent forth her servants, calling with a loud proclamation to the feast, saying, Whoso is foolish, let him turn aside to me, and to them that want understanding, she says. Come, eat of my bread, and drink wine which I have mingled for you. Leave folly, that ye may reign forever, and seek wisdom, and improve understanding by knowledge. He that reproves evil men shall get dishonor to himself, and he that rebukes an ungodly man shall disgrace himself. Rebuke not evil men, lest they should hate thee. Rebuke a wise man, and he will love thee. Give an opportunity to a wise man, and he will be wiser. Instruct a just man, and he will receive more instruction. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the counsel of saints is understanding. For to know the law is the character of a sound mind, for in the way thou shalt live long. For in this way thou shalt live long, and years of thy life shall be added to thee. Son, if thou be wise for thyself, thou shalt also be wise for thy neighbors. And if thou shouldest prove wicked, thou alone wilt bear the evil. He that stays himself upon falsehoods attempts to rule the winds, and the same will pursue birds in their flight. For he has forsaken the ways of his own vineyard, and he has caused the axles of his own husbandry to go astray. And he goes through a dry desert, and a land appointed to drought, and he gathers barrenness with his hands. A foolish and bold woman, who knows not modesty, comes to want a morsel. She sits at the doors of her house, on a seat openly in the streets, calling to passers-by, and to those that are going right on their ways, saying, Whoso is most senseless of you, let him turn aside to me. And I exhort those that want prudence, saying, Take and enjoy secret bread, and the sweet water of theft. But he knows that mighty men die by her, and he falls in with a snare of hell. But hasten away, delay not in the place, neither fix thine eye upon her. For thus shalt thou go through strange water. But do thou abstain from strange water, and drink not of a strange fountain, that thou mayest live long, and years of life may be added to thee.